with doctors watching him carefully. Gardner stayed awake for 264 hours and 12 minutes. That's 11 days and nights without sleeping. What effect did sleeplessness have on Gardner? After 24 hours without sleep, Gardner started having trouble reading and watching television. The words and pictures were too blurry. By the third day, he was having trouble doing things with his hands. By the fourth day, Gardner was hallucinating. For example, when he saw a street sign, he thought it was a person. He also imagined he was a famous football player. Over the next few days, Gardner's speech became so slurred that people couldn't understand him. He also had trouble remembering things. By the 11th day, Gardner couldn't pass a counting test. In the middle of the test, he simply stopped counting. He couldn't remember what he was doing. When Gardner finally went to bed, he slept for 14 hours and 45 minutes. The second night, he slept for 12 hours. The third night, he slept for 10 and 1/2 hours. And by the fourth night, he had returned to his normal sleep schedule.
That means okay in the United States. But in Russia, it's an obscene gesture. The audience of 300 Americans chuckled. A few people took notes. It's all right to admire something, the woman continued, but don't be too enthusiastic. Don't say, I really like your tablecloth. Your Russian friend will offer you the tablecloth and be offended if you don't take it. Remember that in general, life in Russia is not as comfortable as life in the United States. You might not have hot running water, or you might have to share a bathroom with 5 or 6 people. The woman was preparing the Americans for their trip to Russia. In Russia, the language, customs, and food would be different. Even simple things, like making a phone call, would be different. The Americans wanted to learn about these differences before their trip. They didn't want to experience culture shock. When they arrived in Russia, the Americans were glad that they had prepared for their trip. Most of them experienced only a little culture shock. They enjoyed their visit and made a lot of Russian friends. Making friends was in fact the purpose of the trip. The trip was planned by the Friendship Force, an international organization that promotes world peace. The Friendship Force believes that people who are friends will not fight wars.
My dream seemed to come true when I met Jack, a 17-year-old boy in the chat room. We had the same interests, movies, flowers, and music. Besides, he was very thoughtful. Gradually, I fell in love with him. When I thought of him, I dreamed of myself as Mac Ryan and him as Tom Hanks. One day, Jack told me that we should meet in person. I said yes right away. Though he lived a little far away, I was so excited to see my Mr. Right. It was a Saturday morning. I got up very early. Then, tried on different clothes, did my hair, and worked hard to look just right for Jack. My mom felt something was strange, but I just told her that I was going to the movies with my classmates. But you don't need to get up so early and... Come on, Mom, I said, I just want to look pretty, okay? Mom didn't say anything else. Parents are just like that. They just can't trust their teenage kids, so I didn't want to tell her the truth. Jack was waiting for me in the cafe. Oh, I really couldn't wait to meet my Mr. Right. I wanted to recognize him easily, so I asked him to bring a rose, and I brought one too. I slipped into the cafe and hoped to see a handsome boy with a rose.
That's 11 days and nights without sleeping. What effect does sleeplessness have on Gardner? After 24 hours without sleep, Gardner started having trouble reading and watching television. The words and pictures were too blurry. By the third day, he was having trouble doing things with his hands.
By the fourth day, Gardner was hallucinating. For example, when he saw a street sign, he thought it was a person. He also imagined he was a famous football player. Over the next few days, Gardner's speech became so slurred that people couldn't understand him. He also had trouble remembering things. By the 11th day, Gardner couldn't pass a counting test. In the middle of the test, he simply stopped counting. He couldn't remember what he was doing. When Gardner finally went to bed, he slept for 14 hours and 45 minutes. The second night, he slept for 12 hours. The third night, he slept for 10 and 1/2 hours. And by the fourth night, he had returned to his normal sleep schedule.
Gray Squirrel bragged about how fast he could run. Tortoise said, I may walk slow, but I always ride in style. That's because Leopard is my horse. As soon as Tortoise went home, Gray Squirrel ran to Leopard and said, I hear you're a tortoise horse. What a sight that must be. A powerful animal like you being tamed by tortoise. Leopard was very angry. I will eat that liar up, he growled to himself as he ran to Tortoise's burrow. Tortoise was frightened when Leopard burst into his home, his teeth all shiny and sharp. You miserable lump, snarled Leopard. How dare you tell Squirrel that I am your horse? What a ridiculous notion! I'm going to chew you up and gobble you down for spreading a tale like that. Squirrel said that? Exclaimed Tortoise. Why? I never tell any such lie. Squirrel is telling tales, just so that he can break up our friendship.